All right, what is up, everybody? Shadow Scout 0013 here, coming in with another unit breakdown. This time focusing on the 1.4 FD laser cannon. I'm going to kind of go over just 4 simple lists that you can play with 2 to 3 FD cannons in a list, and just kind of talk about them in general and different strategies behind them. And I'll also talk about the giveaways that I'm doing, and I'm doing 3 different giveaways in case you have missed it, and I'll be announcing them the weekend of Worlds. And I don't know if that's this coming up weekend. If not, at least I'm going to post something on the YouTube community, like posts that I have on the channel, so make sure to check that out if it's not in the video itself. And you will be entered in to win these awesome ComScan order tokens. So basically, ComScan is an Etsy store that sells the best Star Wars Legion tokens in the entire galaxy. You know, they are really satisfying to touch. They're heavy. They're high quality casino chips with high definition graphics that basically show you what it would be like if you were on a ship, and you'll be using basically improvised orders just to basically get into your bag again. And they're fantastic. I really do love these things. And having a few myself and seeing a few people from the Discord get them, it's awesome to see. So I really appreciate the guys who have gotten into them, who do have them. Please play them at your locals. Show people how awesome these things are and how heavy they are. And there's 3 different ways to enter, like I was saying. The first way is to be a subscriber and to leave a comment. That enters you in to win. The second way is if you go to the Discord itself and become a member. So all you have to do is just join up. That's really it. We'll say hi. We'll welcome you in. You know, feel free to join in with anything in the Discord. If you've got questions like I've been seeing recently, can anyone help me? I've seen him start posting a lot in here, and he's brand new. It's really cool to see that you guys are, you know, popping in lists and trying to talk about them. You know, DDR Penguin doing some fantastic breakdowns, and also, like, if you're in the Shadow Collective, you know, Squiddo has been also posting some really cool lists in here. And if you do hobby work, so like if you've been, you know, trying to get into painting some different things or showing what you have, like Kitsune showing the different painting thing he has, the hobby space kit that he got, that was really cool. You know, I've got a work in progress right now going on with the Rex and the other clone that I've got. So, you know, feel free to kind of check all that out, and, you know, seeing how you guys are basing and using some resin to base by Blitz. You know, just some shout outs for people in the Discord. You guys are awesome. So yeah, that's the second way to win. The third way to enter in to win is to become a member of the Patreon. So all you have to do is become a paid member of the Patreon. You get things early. So I'll usually record things on Sunday or Monday so that you get a full week of being able to see what's going on. But yeah, these things are awesome, and yeah, that's another way to get involved to win. And then lastly, just because if you are interested in working out, and you do work out, but you are maybe getting bored with your workout, feel free to head on to theburnacademy.com and subscribe for $15 a month, which is 50 cents a day. You get a professional trainer at your fingertips. You get 3, 4, 5, 8, 6-day week workout programs, corrective exercise program, 30-minute torture program, at-home workouts, abs and core that you can do either at home or at the gym, cardio circuits in case you're at the gym and you just want to do a cardio recovery day. There's so many different things that you get, along with videos and descriptions of everything, coaching videos, 120 different recipes, and ways to track your progress. So feel free to contact me and look at the people who have had real results. So yeah, it's just awesome. Go ahead and sign up and let me know when you do sign up. All right, so let's get back to it, and hopefully you guys are excited about that giveaway. So let's talk about the 1.4 FD laser cannon team. So basically, it's just one support, and it's a support unit. It has 6 health, which is really nice. It's got 2 courage, which is, again, okay. It's got white defense dice that do surge. You do surge to offense, and you do roll 5 black dice, range 1 to 5. So you have a sniper range, but a lot more dice. And it's also impact 2 naturally. Now, in case, that is also fixed front, so you have to be facing that way. Luckily, on the card, when you pivot, you can pivot 360 degrees, and you can do that as an action just to move. Your standby range automatically is range 1 to 3, and you just cannot move at all. You can do pivots, like I said, turning 360, but you cannot move. You got no movement here. You cannot be force pushed or anything like that. So that's also really nice, but you also can't do any other free movements. The only time that you do get to do a movement is during advanced positions when you get the advanced position when you get the Scout 1, because you still are a trooper unit. You're just an emplacement trooper. So that's really nice. So if you do play the laser cannon team, then I would definitely include either advanced positions in there and or rapid reinforcements, so that you can kind of put them wherever you want. And it's not that you have to, when you use rapid reinforcements, the condition to get on your opponent's side. You could just since it is round 1 and maybe you did play advanced positions, that's kind of far away from everybody by the time that you do pull your supports, possibly. So you can just put them in a position outside of the deployment zone that is better for you, or a little bit closer, or anything like that. So there are really good ways to get good placements for the FD cannons. It just depends on those cards. And so if you are fixed front and you cannot move, so say someone is behind you and you don't want to pivot and shoot, you could still aim and shoot, but you're going to roll 4 white at range 1 to 2 instead. So it's not quite like better, but at least you have a way to still aim and shoot at someone outside of your front arc if you don't feel like using a move to pivot. You also have 2 black in melee, so you can melee. You just, obviously, you cannot withdraw from melee. So that's kind of the only crappy thing, is if a force user decides to base you before or after you have gone, they're stuck with you in the melee. So yeah, that's not too bad. And then you do have a comm slot and then a little extra hardpoint slot, or I should say a generator spot. So we'll take a look at those real quick. They're both 3 points, and they both exhaust. So when performing a ranged attack with the barrage generator, it has to have fixed front. So side note, if you are playing the E-Web and you decide to start on the back of a Gav tank, if I'm not mistaken, you cannot have or use the generator, because you have to add it to a weapon that has fixed. And I think when you are on the Gav tank, you lose fixed front, so you can just shoot. So you wouldn't technically be able to use the generators. If I'm mistaken, leave a comment down below, and if you're a subscriber, that'll enter you in to win. But yeah, side note. Okay, so with the barrage generator, now the laser cannon team is not obviously going to go into a transport, but when you're attacking with the barrage generator, you can add 2 white attack dice and apply suppressive. With overcharge generator, you're going to add a black dice and impact 1, so it'll technically be impact 3 with 6 black dice. So that's really not bad. So it depends on whether, if you're planning on going up against a lot of trooper units or vehicles, or do you just want to have more impact just in case, or do you want to have more suppressive just in case? It's a really, really tough decision. Good thing they're both the same points. So in the lists that I think I mostly have the overcharge generator, because I don't have a lot of impact in the other stuff, so it just kind of helps. And your trooper units, if you have a heavy, you can technically split fire, so you can add more suppression anyway. So that's why usually I've gone with the overcharge generator. Now, a few really good comms upgrades really would be emergency transponder and link targeting array. I think those are the best 2 upgrades you can add in the comm slot to the laser cannon team, because sometimes you're probably going to give them an order so they can get a free aim. Then you can just recover and shoot. That way you still have an aim from the LTA, and you've recharged whatever generator you have. And so that's super nice to be able to do. Or if you have emergency transponder, then, which I think it's going to be better anyway, you can use it once to at least gain an aim, recover, and shoot when you need to. So round 1, maybe you aim and you shoot, and then the next turn you do this for free, and then you recover and you shoot and you still have an aim, and then by round 3, you're probably just aiming and shooting, or maybe recovering and shooting, or something like that. So I think ET and LTA are the absolute best. HQ uplink, there is a way to put that on there, because I think it could be really good, but at the same time, I don't think it's important enough to get an order on the laser cannon team when you probably have more operatives or commanders in here that are more important anyway. So that's just my reasoning. But HQ uplink, there is, not an excuse to put that on there, but there are reasons to put HQ uplink on there. And that's really it. That's so simple. It is just those 2 upgrades, but it's a very powerful laser cannon if you want a good gun line. And it's an emplacement trooper, so it does provide light cover if you are behind it or obscured by it, as far as I am aware. Alright, so let's take a look at a few list ideas. Obviously, in Echo-based defenders, it's really nice because you can bring 4 FD cannons. And with those 4, I have emergency transponder and overcharged generator, so you've got impact, let's see, at least 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You have impact 12 on there, and you've also got critical 2 with the Mark II, and then you also have critical 2, I think, as well with the CMO 93 Trooper. So you have tons of ways to gain criticals in here. Chewbacca also surges to crit, also has impact and pierce, which is pretty awesome. And Leia also surges to crit just in case anyone does get close. And then you have R2 in here for the time being to be able to just do secret mission. But I have Leia Organa with improvised orders and portable scanners. That way she's got the take cover 3, so you can hand out 3 dodges and then do a second action. Chewbacca is in here with tenacity only. If you wanted to change tenacity with maybe protector because you wanted to protect some rebel veterans from getting shot, I would recommend that. The only reason I have just tenacity and nothing else is to get a 7-point bid. Now, if you don't want tenacity, obviously you can create an 8-point bid and just do protector instead. Whichever one is up to you, but I'll leave it whatever it is on there. You can just go to the description down below, and there are links to all the lists just in case. I have R2D2 in here just in case, like I said, to get the secret mission. And then I have 2 rebel veterans with the medical droid, and situational awareness. So that way, either when they get an order, they get a dodge and can use it to cancel crits, or when Leia decides to hand out some dodges, she can give them to the vets, and they can still use them to cancel crits. And that's really it. It's a very simple list. It's 11 activations, though. And then I've got coordinated bombardment, delaying tactics, no time for sorrows to be able to, move your Mark IIs into a position that's better. Or if you do have to play hostage exchange, you can, since you don't deploy for hostage exchange, you just put a core unit in the middle and attach the hostage to them. You can use the Mark II. And then they have a bigger base. They're already Courage 2, so then they'll go to Courage 3. They're already Speed 1, so they're just going to stay at Speed 1. And then you get to do a free Speed 1 move, and then when it's their turn, they can do 2 Speed 1 moves. And again, their base is a little bit bigger, so you're going to be moving faster and farther. So, yeah, that's another reason why I have no time for sorrows. I have Courage of the Rebellion to be able to give the FD cannons the ability to recover in case they need to. Or, if the rebel veterans have too much suppression on them, then they can recover. If anything like that, it just depends. There's lots of flexibility into it, but it's just 2 units, and I figured it would be a good, much better card than Push. Or the other card where the other 2 pip, I forgot what it is, that gives it just 2 supports or 2 heavies, I think, and then they gain Inspire 2. At least this one, they can just recover. I have somebody has to save our skin so that when Leia goes, hand out some dodges and moves, then maybe Chewie or R2 or some veterans can go, anything like that. It's just nice to be able to have another unit at range 1 to 2 of you with a face-up order token go ahead and activate immediately afterwards. So you can load them up with dodges and then have them go next. And then hold at any cost, which I think is obviously the best card for Echo-based defenders, because you're giving it to 3 core units, so you can give it to both Rebel veterans, and if they don't coordinate to the medium blaster trooper, then you can give that third one to one of the medium blaster troopers. But each friendly core unit, regardless of if they got an order or not, gains an aim, and each friendly emplacement trooper gains a standby. So you've got 6 emplacement troopers that'll gain a standby, and that's pretty powerful. I do have the objectives, conditions, and deployments set up for all of these in case you guys are just trying to take the list and play. And yeah, you'll see the different things that I have on here, and it's mostly just long range stuff because you've got lots of range 4 or maybe 5, and then some heavier, stronger, closer shots. Yeah, sorry. And then you have an FD with Ahsoka and Cass. So a lot of people have seen similar style lists in different tournaments. This one's got a small twist to it, and I'll kind of explain what I've got going on. So you have Cassian with CC initiative and his sniper, and that's it. You've got Lando just naked. You've got Ahsoka with burst of speed, push, CC initiative so that she can get that free dodge and order whenever you give your orders to either Cassian or if you need to give it to anybody else, and then into the fray so that she gains that free surge to keep her alive just a little longer. K2SO to hand out those aims and or dodges to Cassian, or maybe even an aim dodge suppression to Ahsoka, because she's courage 3, so it's not like one suppression's going to take her down. I've got 3 Rebel troopers, one with portable scanners and one with electro binoculars to be able to hand out some dodges. Since you don't really have a support commander, you've got mostly commanders that are going to be doing some work. So that's why I have those extra gear slots upgrades, and then 3 laser cannon teams with the emergency transponders, because you're not really going to be giving them any orders. I have crack shot on there to be able to give Cassian the ability, it's range 1 to infinity to gain gunslinger, and then the laser cannon teams can kind of try to join in on the same targets. And then if you needed to, that is the only card that doesn't give or doesn't have the capacity to give Ahsoka an order, so that's why I have seize the initiative on her. If you really don't care about it, then, especially with Last Stand, if you need to give it to Lando or K2SO, then you could use it. If you don't want seize the initiative on her at all, then I would either go tenacity or maybe offensive defensive stance so that you can take that dodge, gain 2 dodges instead, and use her Jarkai mastery to change those hits to crits with dodges. You have I Am No Jedi so that she can do her thing. I have Last Stand on there so that, if you wanted to give an order to her, she's going to gain a dodge from Defend 1 and the card. And then Swift Protector is just going to Ahsoka, so then maybe you use Seize the Initiative on Cassian, because it's also a 2-pip, so that allows you to kind of go with him when you need. Secondly, with Lando in there, you get 3 contingencies, and so I have Ace up his sleeve in case, you've already used Seize the Initiative on Cassian with Ahsoka's 2-pip, then maybe you go with, Swift Protector, give it to Ahsoka, let her do her thing, and then, if Lando's near Cassian, then he can just use Ace up his sleeve to give Cassian the order at range 1 or 2 and then let him go. There's lots of things for that one. And then I've got Sacrifice in here, which is the 3-pip for K2SO and Cassian. And it can only go to Cassian or K2SO, but the effect on the card isn't really so specific, because it just says K2 SO gains Guardian 4, and at the end of K2's activation, you can choose another friendly commander or operative. So if you wanted to choose Ahsoka for this, you could, at range 1 and in line of sight of K2SO, and if you do, you can defeat K2SO, and enemy units cannot perform ranged attacks against Ahsoka. So if she's either run out of dodges, or you can't get her a dodge or an order, because you're giving this card to only Cassian and K2, and K2 is at least next to Ahsoka. Ahsoka probably didn't get a dodge, or maybe she's low on health. K2 is going to be able to help Ahsoka with that. And, I have Sabotage in here in case you want to give it to Ahsoka. If you infiltrate Cassian, he becomes an operative, so that you can give it to him if you need to. And K2SO is also an operative, so you could have 3 operatives in here who benefit from the Sabotage communications in case, one of these just didn't feel right at the time. And obviously, you don't have to have Sabotage communications. Because if maybe say that you're going up against Yoda, and Yoda plays his 3-pip, and they're going to play the 3-pip that gives everybody an order, play Sabotage communications and just give it to... have them just give it to Yoda, and it completely ruins the entire thing. So I figured that's at least a card that could be worth it, especially with a lot of people playing Yoda at the time. And then obviously, Volunteer Mission and A New Beginning, that's 2 possible ways to recover Ahsoka with her Force Push and or anything else, and or give Cassian the ability to change his configuration on his gun. But yeah, you have lots of support in here between K2SO and then 2 Rebel Troopers that have extra either electric binoculars or portable scanners in case you want to give aims and or dodges to the laser cannon team, or more aims to K2, which will transfer it to Cassian, or give a dodge from the Rebel Trooper here to Ahsoka to just build up her dodges, and or K2SO to give Ahsoka some dodges. There's lots of support still in here. And it's 10 activations with a 5-point bid. So, not bad. And then I have one with Cassian, K2, and Luke with 3 laser cannon teams, just because I believe, Cassian and K2 are doing really well. And I think they pair very well also with Luke, because K2SO can give Luke, an aim, a dodge, and suppression. And, he's Courage 4. So that suppression is really not going to matter, but the aim and the dodge could really help a lot. You do have Rebel Officer in here with portable scanner, so he can also hand out dodges. I got Cassian with duck and cover, recon in his config. Luke has Shadow Mind Trick, push, and burst of speed, as well as into the fray. You have 2 Rebel Trooper units with the electro binoculars, and a Rebel Trooper with the medical droid, and then 3 laser cannon teams with emergency transponders. So the Rebel Troopers with the electric binoculars can give out aims to the laser cannon team or to K2SO, which again will give it to Cassian. And then you can maybe use the Rebel Officer to give out a dodge to Luke when he needs it before he goes. Or you can give out another dodge to Cassian, which will give it to K2SO, or vice versa. But again, lots of support, lots of long range, 4 units that are really long range in here, and then Luke can just go in and clean up and disengage. There's a list in here I was thinking of earlier that had a bunch of Ewoks with Luke, and Luke being able to force push out a unit and then use his 1-pip to have some Ewoks move in. So this is completely random, but when you've got your skirmishers here, and say they had Call to Arms. Well, Call to Arms is not finished until the end of the round. So they could maybe double move and charge a unit, and then Luke could technically either double move or move and use his 1-pip, the You Serve Your Master Well, to have to move the Ewoks. If they didn't finish off the opponent, you can move, use Luke to force push the enemy out of melee with Ewoks. You could Jedi Mind Trick or You Serve Your Master Well to the skirmishers. They still have charge until the end of the round, so you can move them and then they could charge and tie up somebody else, and then you finish moving Luke and charge into whoever the skirmishers charged into earlier. Lots of good ways to do Ewoks and Luke, but that was just a side note. But yeah, this is another not quite so much of a gun line, because obviously the Rebel Troopers don't have any extra upgrades. You just have those laser cannon teams to kind of help shoot down range. And lastly, I've got Cassian with C's, Duck and Cover, and the config K2SO, R2D2 with C3PO. So you've got two units that have Calculate the Odds, which will help your pikes. So I've got two pikes in here with the Disruptor and the Capo and Recon. And then I've got also another Capo with Vigilance and Recon Intel, so that you can just keep stacking up dodges on these guys. Two of the laser cannon teams with the overcharge generator, so you have impact, let's say 3, 6, 10, because they're, 8, because these are impact 1. Yeah. So impact 8 in here naturally. And then you've got, R2D2 in here with comms relay to be able to give out one of his orders in case, you wanted to use one of his orders. So, like, his 1-pip would be nice, because it just allows him to get into the secret mission a little heavier. Turning the Tide is what I was referencing earlier. But you'd probably go with Last Stand, and maybe Impromptu Immolation, or maybe Turning the Tide to give it to the two supports, and they can, inspire some of the foot soldiers just in case, or anyone else. But you also have two Rebel Troopers in here with Rebel Officer on both of them, so that you do have ways to inspire, because you don't have the ability to generate another commander in here that has Inspire. So you've got that. And if you did need more, or felt like you need more, then that's when you can go with Turning the Tide. But maybe just go with Push. And then obviously Secret Mission would be good. And Covering Fire isn't that bad. You can give it to these three guys, and then another friendly unit at range 1 to 2 can gain a dodge. So then maybe you just hand those dodges to the Pike foot soldiers when they need to. And or you've got those Rebel Troopers that have Nimble, so they could use those, obviously. And or you can go with Assault, but I'd probably go with Covering Fire. Now, you really don't have much in melee in here. You do have a really good gun line, because you're going to have lots of dice. So at least these guys have 5 dice, and you do have a medical droid in there to keep bringing back a foot soldier here. So maybe Intercept the Transmissions could be good. Breakthrough could be okay, because you do have 11 acts, and they could almost all move. You'd have 9 that can technically move. Key positions, I wouldn't necessarily do. Recover the Supplies would be fine. I would maybe even think about doing Sabotage the Motion Evaporator, because you've got some long range. And, that's a tough one. I mean, sure, you could try Breakthrough, because anyone trying to come your way is going to be running into the laser cannon team. And with the deployment, you could do Advanced Positions. I would do the Long March, maybe Major Offensive, and Roll Out to force them all into a little easier firing lane. Maybe Clear Conditions with this one. Fortify positions, supply drop, and technically the laser cannon teams are Courage 2. Your Pike foot soldiers are all Courage 2. Your Pike Capo right here is Courage 2. The Rebel Officer increases your Courage by 1, so both of these Rebel Troopers have Courage 2. R2's got Courage 2, K2's Courage 2, Cassian's Courage 2. You only have one unit that is Courage 1, so I think War Weary would honestly be the absolute best, because you're going to be able to get through all of the Courage anyway. And again, like I said, you've got a few ways to inspire on the Rebel Troopers, and then these Rebel Troopers also have Portable Scanner, and one of them has Electro Binoculars to be able to keep fortifying these Pike foot soldiers with more dodges, or maybe even give out an extra aim to Cassian and or K2. But between C3PO giving out some aims and dodges to K2, which could give it to Cassian, and then K2 using Calculate the Odds on himself, giving Cassian some more aims and dodges before he even goes. So maybe he even has 2 aims, 2 dodges before he even starts his turn. If you didn't want Seize Initiative on there, you could probably go with Situational Awareness, because you're going to be probably getting a lot of dodges as well, so that you can keep him alive a little bit longer, and you do get at least a 1-point bid just in case. But yeah, those are just a few different like gun line-ish ideas, and at least a few melee threats between Ahsoka and Luke. And then the first one obviously is just Echo Base. But alright guys, that is really it. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Feel free to head on over to ComScan, the Etsy store, and use Shadow Scout as the discount code, which gets you 10% off. And head on over to the Discord to become a member, again, to help you enter in to win. Head on over to the Clan of Shadows Patreon to become a Patreon member and to help out the channel and giveaways. And head on over to theburnacademy.com and subscribe for $15 a month to get all of this and to even chat with me on the side about personal training. Alright guys, I appreciate you listening until the very end. Hopefully you guys had a learning experience here. And lastly, I just want to thank all of the Patreon members: Anthony Estrada, Grant Sonnier, Emperor Atlantis, Daniel Padilla, and Tyson. Thank you guys for all that you do and for helping out so much. You guys are fantastic. Alright guys, I'll catch you in the next video next week. Hopefully you guys have a great weekend. Deuces.